traders, it's the 22nd, Thursday. We have trading half a day tomorrow. A couple of things to note here is that taking the fibs off of this high down to the low, we discussed that we were at the 382 retracement, that the 50% is above us, and if we draw a trend line here, you can see that 50% is right about where that candle would be, more or less. If we redraw from this last pivot here, that pivot down to this low, and redraw these Fibonacci's, we can see that the 618 is, now let's delete some of this. Let's take a look at the weekly, something I found interesting. On the weekly, from this high down to this low, we can see our 618 is up here at 1418. And the thing I was noting is that our close is above the high of the previous week, okay, before the bears took control and we sold off. We have the 10 EMA turning down and have the 20 starting to flatten out. So we have that as a resistance level also coinciding with the 50% level retracement. Notice that the TSI Truth Strength Index has reached oversold territory and is ready to turn. If we look back at the daily, we can see that the TSI, thanks to Sailor Guy by the way for turning me on to this indicator, we just passed the zero line, we're at 9, and we could see some continued move higher before we get oversold. Okay, so we could see possibly up to this 50% level before turning around. Okay, the 1400s are definitely in the cards if we don't see a failure here, which I doubt. Looking at the dollar, remember we talked about this level here, the 81.26 level, that in addition to the 100 period moving average, which was moving lower, we found that as resistance too. We have the 20 period and the 50 period underneath us, and we have the 80.48 level for point and figure support if we move lower. Okay, so keep an eye on these two levels here, 81.26 and 80.48 on the US dollar. Note the euro prices move through the shorter term 10 period moving average. We're right at the 20 period. The 10 period is turning up and could cross over in the next few days if the price continues to move higher. We don't have any point and figure resistance until we get up to the 129.95 level here. So these are areas of possible change in momentum and change in direction in price. So keep those on your list as well to look at for the week. Canadian dollar, we found support right at the 99.44 level. Bounced off of that and went right through the next level up, the 132, and we're above that level and could see a move up to the 101.32 moving average, or even higher up to the 102 level on the Canadian dollar. In Sunday's video we talked about bullish percents, the comp. We were right at this level. We were just saying that we could possibly turn, and that's exactly what we did. The discretionary, we turned as well, as one would expect. Energy, flatten out, but we're not moving lower. Financials, again, not moving lower, but we're flattening out. Gold miners, flattening out right at the 200 period. Healthcare, same thing, flattening out. Industrials, flattening out. Infotech, notice we made a nice turn in the technology sector this week. So far this week, I should say. Materials had a nice move, bottomed, and we're moving higher. NASDAQ 100, nice move as you would expect with the comp. The SPX had a nice move off of that low at 58.40, so the bullish percentage starting to move in the other direction. Stables, Telly, remember we talked about how oversold this got. We're flattening out now. I'd like to see a move higher to start looking at that sector for some possible buys. Transportation, notice the inverted head and shoulders, and we're flattening out at 35. we're way oversold, so we should start moving higher on the transportation stocks. My favorite is JBHT, JB Hunt. Okay, utilities, 74 and flattening. And let's take a look at the NASI, which I said we needed a crossover to get a buy signal, and we're almost there. Notice what happened in June. If you go to stock prices in June, go to the S&P, and look at what happened in June. You see we had a nice bottom, and we ran up from 1266 up to 1474. So keep that in mind when you look at the NASI summation index. Okay, the move that we had, as well as the NIMO. We're up at 20 now. So we have some momentum. We could see a little bit higher, but I would be starting to take profits. Remember that 618 level on the ES futures. Remember ACWI, we said on Sunday is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. On Friday we had this nice reversal candle, and we closed back up above the 200 period. Then we would see a nice move, and we got that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We're right at the 20 period, and that trend line that was there before. Let's see what happens this week as we move higher and the euro continues to move. Note the euro to the US dollar is moving higher, and we're approaching the 0%. We could see a move higher. Okay, so these are the creme de la creme of the world index. Okay, I like to use this as a barometer for the whole world global economy. Note the Kirby up here as well at previous highs. Not recent highs, previous highs. Note the Russell. We had to move down below the 300 period. So looking at the Russell, we can see from this pivot that we're up at the 618, and that the 50% level is up here at the 816 level, 815.67, which is right at the 50 period. And we have to make it through the 20 and the 200, but doesn't look too bad. We have the 618 right here at 803-ish, 804. So we want to see the Russell moving higher. That's a reflection of risk on. The more risk that people take, the better it is for the markets in general. We're approaching the 50% level on the RSI. Stochastic still has a lot of room to move before it gets overbought. We got a MACD cross. Okay, we can see that ADX is flattened out, so indicating that this move down, the momentum of that move down has dissipated, and now we're starting to go in the other direction. Okay, so that's some nice things to look at with the Russell. Now let's take a look at DBV. Okay, remember to move in higher. We talked about this level here that we're looking at as a big cup and handle. This is a reflection of the carry trade. We're up at the 60-something, 65 level on RSI. Stochastics is starting to get overbought. MACD is turned back up, so that's looking pretty good. The shorter term 8 period here is holding price, so we are moving higher. Notice the Kirby up here as well. Okay, so this looks pretty good. I want to see this continuing higher to be positive for equities. The 20-year Treasury TLT, we moved off of this upper Bollinger Band. We're at the 20 period right now. We could see a bounce. Notice that RSI is flattened out right at 50. Got a lot of selling here. Stochastics is overbought and moving lower, so we have some room to move to the downside. It's going to be just the opposite of the SPY. We got a MACD cross to the downside, bearish, and on balance volume is starting to taper off. So keep an eye on balance volume too to see if this moves lower. And back to the spiders. Again, the pivot that we put in here, the lower Bollinger Band, moved up to the 618. The 382. The 50% levels up here at the 50 period moving average. We have some nice Kirby action up here. So the 140.98 level looks to be good at the 50% retracement. 618 is up here at 142.49. Okay, so we have some nice move here so far. Nice volume, though volume is tapering off. Stochastics has plenty of room for it to continue to move higher. Okay, before we get overbought. And we could do one of these numbers like we did here. We have a MACD cross. I don't think this is going to happen with the stochastics, but that's just what I'm looking at right now. Looking at the histogram, starting to move up, positive, and keep an eye on balance volume. Okay. So we got short-term period moving averages turning. I'd like to see that crossover with the 20 period, the middle of the Bollinger Bands. Alright, so that's it for me for Thursday the 22nd. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. I hope everything is going well for you and your family. And just want to look at the ES for targets going into the week. Again, the 50% at 1403.95 and the 618 at 1419.03, give or take. And using these closer pivots, of course, we have these numbers here. Okay, 50% at 1385 and 1396. Take care, remember to use your stops, and I hope this helped.